On today's episode of Notable New England, I'm going to share some of our region's best places to see beautiful spring blooms to celebrate the season. New England has an abundance of absolutely stunning gardens and landscapes that are sure to inspire and awe and put an extra spring in your step. Stay tuned. Hello, lovely listeners, and thank you for tuning in to this week's edition of Notable New England. I'm your host, Gretchen B., and I am a lifelong and proud New Englander. If you are new to the podcast, welcome. I'm happy to have you here. To my lovely listeners who tune in a lot, welcome back. I'm so glad that you enjoy the podcast. Well, we sure were treated to a lovely day this past week when temperatures got up to 70 degrees or so. It was so great to see people out and about and enjoying the sun and the warmth. And there was certainly a lot of snow melt happening, which I'm sure many New Englanders were very grateful for. I was walking around my neighborhood in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and I spotted my first snowdrop flowers of the season. And that always signals to me that spring is on the way. And I am keeping an eye out for crocuses to start popping up, as that's usually another sign for me. And, on my walk, it got me thinking about the abundance of beautiful flowers and plants that we have growing in New England. And we really have some incredible gardens and nature spots that you can take in all of that beauty of the spring season. And I thought today I would tell you about some of these places where you can get a nice dose of spring and experience its beauty in full form. Before I get to my curated list of spots, let's dig into some Wicked Light Bites, community-oriented stories and happenings from each New England state. Almost a month after Colin Dorgan of Blackstone Valley Prep suffered an unimaginable family tragedy, he scored the game-winning goal in double overtime with just 48 seconds remaining to send his high school hockey team to the Division II title game. The goal sealed Blackstone Valley's 3-2 victory over Portsmouth High School in the state ice hockey semifinals on Wednesday, March 11th. Blackstone Valley will now advance to the Rhode Island Interscholastic League Division II Boys Ice Hockey Championship. After the game, Dorgan called the goal the greatest moment of his life. He said, quote, "It's absolutely surreal what's been happening. I really love my boys, my team, and I think we're really bonding together. And I think now, out of all times, it's a perfect time to just bear down together and push through. And I think these goals aren't coming just for myself. I got to get the pass before I could shoot the puck. I think it's really a team effort, and I think we're all there for each other, truly," end quote. Dorgan kept his mother, brother, and grandfather close to his heart, wearing a patch with their initials during the game. On February 16th, Colin Dorgan lost his mother, Rhonda Dorgan, his brother, Aidan Dorgan, and grandfather, Gerald Dorgan, in a mass shooting at a Rhode Island hockey game. The shooter was identified as Colin's biological father, who had undergone gender reassignment surgery and was known as Roberta Esposito and Roberta Dorgano. Information for this item comes courtesy of David K. Lee at NBC News. The Capitol Groove Festival in Hartford, Connecticut announced that it will be postponing its summer 2026 festival this year. The announcement came after ticket holders inexplicably received refunds. The Capitol Groove is a 2-day festival that attracts thousands of followers and headlines big-name acts. The festival was originally scheduled for June 27th and 28th. The festival's Instagram post stated, quote, "We can't thank you enough for your support in our first 2 years. Due to scheduling challenges surrounding this year's festival, we've made the difficult decision to postpone the Capitol Groove until 2027. We look forward to seeing you there," end quote. Refunds for all 2026 tickets are being processed and should be completed in the next few weeks. Information for this item comes courtesy of Melissa Cooney at NBC Connecticut. 17-year-old high school senior Madison Beauregard of Concord High School in Concord, New Hampshire, made history and became the first girl to win 4 consecutive state title championships in wrestling. Madison began wrestling in the 6th grade, and she is the only girl on Concord High School's wrestling team. She hopes to continue wrestling in college. When asked how she reacted when she made history, she said, quote, "It kind of felt the same as like when I won everything else. It was kind of like, oh, I won," end quote. She said her advice to other girls who want to get into the sport of wrestling, quote, "Do it. It's going to change you. It's going to make you so much more mentally and physically tough. And it's definitely a commitment. And it's going to be something you're going to have to work at really hard to get, but do it," end quote. Information for this item comes courtesy of Julie Furukawa of NHPR. Ben & Jerry's Ice Cream, founded in Vermont, is going to be hosting its ever-popular Free Cone Day on April 14th. They are hoping to surpass its record of 1 million free cones this year. On April 14th, all Ben & Jerry's retail locations will offer free cones. The Free Cone Day tradition started back in 1979. Information for this item comes from the WCAX news team. An iconic Saco, Maine store will be closing its doors after nearly 100 years in business. The Way store is a general store on Buxton Road in Saco, which opened back in 1929. The store was owned and operated by generations of the Cousins family until 2003. The store remained closed until 2011, and then husband and wife Bridget and Peter Scontras took over. Sadly, Bridget passed away in October, and Peter does not want to run the business without her. It remains unclear if the store will reopen in the future, as the Cousins family still has ownership of the store. Information for this item comes from the WGME 13 staff. Brookline, Massachusetts' own Conan O'Brien will be the commencement speaker at this year's Harvard University commencement ceremonies on May 28th. O'Brien graduated from Harvard in 1985. He served 2 terms as the president of the Harvard Lampoon during his time at Harvard as well. Harvard University President Alan Garber said, quote, "Conan O'Brien is a singular and outstanding American humorist. His work, deeply rooted in close listening and keen observation, creates joyful connections between and among ideas and people. I look forward to sharing the stage with him at Tercentenary Theater later this year. Harvard is tremendously fortunate to call him one of our own," end quote. O'Brien has won multiple Emmy Awards during his career, and in 2025 he won the Mark Twain Prize for American Humor. He spoke at Harvard's Class Day ceremony in 2000 and at Harvard's virtual commencement ceremony in 2020. Information for this item comes courtesy of Schuyler Velasco of Harvard Magazine. Coming up after the break, I'm going to share some spectacular New England places where you can see the most beautiful flowers and scenery that will be sure to lift your mood and help you experience the magnificence of our region this spring. You're listening to Notable New England. Hello, lovely listeners. I am launching something fun, the Notable New England Spring Photo Contest, and I'd love for you to take part. Get outside, explore, and send in your best photos of springtime around New England. Photos must be taken in New England during spring 2026, and it's one entry per person. Entries are due April 30th. Then, listeners will vote for their favorite photo from May 1st through May 22nd. The photo with the most votes will win a Notable New England prize pack filled with New England goodies mailed right to your home. The winner will be announced on the podcast on the May 24th episode. To enter, visit bit.ly/NNPhotoSpring. That's bit.ly/NNPhotoSpring. You can also find the link in the show notes. I hope you'll take part so we can showcase the beauty of spring around New England. If Notable New England has ever made you smile, helped you discover a new place, or reminded you why this region is such a special place to live, I want to ask for your help. This podcast is truly a one-person labor of love. Every episode you hear is researched, written, recorded, edited, and shared by me. There's no production team, no staff, just a deep belief in the stories, places, and people that make New England such an incredible community. I do this because I believe that our region's stories matter, and because I think the more we celebrate them, the stronger our communities become. If this podcast means something to you, there are a few simple ways that you can support it. Taking a moment to rate or review Notable New England on your favorite podcast app helps more people discover the show. Sharing it with a friend helps grow this community of listeners. And if you'd like to help support the real costs of producing the podcast, you can make a one-time contribution at buymeacoffee.com/Notable New England. Again, buymeacoffee.com/Notable New England. Or you can become a sustaining member at patreon.com/Notable New England. That's patreon.com/Notable New England. But however you support the show, by listening, sharing, reviewing, or contributing, please know how grateful I am. This podcast exists because of you, and I'm so glad you're part of the Notable New England community. Spring will soon be in full bloom all over New England, and we are so fortunate in our region to have some of the most beautiful flowers, plants, and scenery, and an abundance of places that you can view it all on display. I curated a small list of the best places in New England to go and get your fill of spring beauty in hopes it gets you out into your communities and exploring all our region has to offer. I hope it inspires you to explore, get out into nature, and experience some peace and beauty around New England. A Massachusetts must-stop for some spring beauty is the Bridge of Flowers in Shelburne Falls. The bridge is open April 1st through October 31st. It was originally constructed in the year 1908 for trolleys to deliver goods across the Deerfield River to factories in nearby hill towns. By 1927, the bridge became obsolete due to the advent of the car, so the trolley company went out of business. Tearing down the bridge was not really an option, as it would have been hugely expensive to do so. A local couple, Antoinette and Walter Burnham, had a home overlooking the bridge, and one day Antoinette thought out loud, "If weeds can grow there, why not flowers?" The Burnhams posted a letter in the local newspaper asking for volunteers to help plant flowers. The Shelburne Falls Women's Club took on the project and underwrote its cost with a grant of $1,000. In April 1929, the club and members of the community moved 80 loads of loam and many yards of fertilizer to the bridge, replacing weeds with plants and flower seeds, which many of them donated from their own gardens. Club members continued to care for the plantings every year, and to this day, volunteers help to caretake the space. When you visit, depending on which month you go, you'll see a rotating mix of blooms. And to see exactly what is in bloom, you can visit the Bridge's website at bridgeofflowersmass.org, and they have a whole list of what you can expect to see throughout the seasons. It is one of the most beautiful and stunning spots to visit and well worth a trip. You're sure to get some beautiful photos there, and it is a sight to be in awe of. The best part, the bridge is wheelchair and walker accessible, and there is no charge to visit and view the beauty. 2-hour parking is free throughout the village. On Water Street, there is a public parking lot adjacent to the Bridge of Flowers. Just pop the Bridge of Flowers in Shelburne Falls, Massachusetts into your GPS, and it will guide you there. My Tao Garden on Chappaquiddick Island on Martha's Vineyard is a spectacular sight to see. It's a 14-acre Japanese-inspired stroll garden run by the trustees of reservations. Hugh Jones developed this garden between the years 1958 and 1966 to encourage visitors to take a moment to pause, reflect, and appreciate the garden's beauty. In 1991, Hurricane Bob almost destroyed the garden, but was thankfully saved. Today, the garden celebrates the traditions of age, renewal, and rebirth. You will find sand, stone, and duckboard paths that wind through Japanese maples, pines, and flowering shrubs, boundary plantings, and edge screening that create intimacy and privacy. The garden is open daily from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Trustees of reservations members can get in for free, and if you're not a member, there is a $5 charge. The address of the garden is Dyke Road, Chappaquiddick Island, Martha's Vineyard. For more information to plan your visit, you can go to thetrustees.org/place/MYTOI. Hildene in Manchester, Vermont, was the home of the Lincoln family built by Abraham Lincoln's son, Robert Todd Lincoln. In its formal garden, you will find more than 100 peony plants. The formal garden was designed by President Abraham Lincoln's granddaughter, Jessie Lincoln, for her mother, Mary Harlan Lincoln. The pattern of the garden is that of a stained glass window with the flowers representing the glass. In addition to the peonies, you'll find flowers especially attractive to bees and butterflies. When you're there, you can take a peek at the cutting and kitchen garden, which boasts a variety of fruits, vegetables, and herbs. There is also a butterfly garden, which contains milkweed, dill, mallow, as well as shrubs and flowering plants to attract butterflies. There is a wildflower meadow designed and planted to attract pollinators. You'll commonly find lupin, echinacea, giant hyssop, and more. The hawthorn allée on the property is a path where you can walk that once was a path that led cattle to a pasture and circled back to the cutting and kitchen garden to a children's play area, which included a reflecting pool and playhouse. The property holds events throughout the year, from apple tree pruning to maple months to sheep shearing, bird walks, and historical walks, and more. To plan your visit, go to hildene.org. Hildene is located at 1005 Hildene Road in Manchester, Vermont. The Shelburne Museum in Shelburne, Vermont is a 45-acre art and design museum, and they are well known for their grounds, which are full of beautiful flowers for all to explore. There are over 20 themed gardens, from perennial and annual flower gardens to herb and heirloom vegetable gardens and flowering fruit trees. Some of the themed gardens include an apothecary garden with medicinal plants, a peony garden boasting over 700 peonies of different varieties, a circus building daylily garden which has more than 1,700 daylilies of many varieties, and so much more. You can make a day out of your visit because in addition to the gardens, you can explore 39 buildings and view some 100,000 artifacts spread out over 45 acres. There's also a steamboat, a passenger train, and a covered bridge. The museum and grounds will reopen for the season on May 9th, and to plan your visit, you can go to shelburnemuseum.org. The Shelburne Museum is located at 6000 Shelburne Road in Shelburne, Vermont. To see the first municipal rose garden in the United States and the third largest rose garden in the United States today, you must make a trip to the Helen S. Kamen Rose Garden at Elizabeth Park in West Hartford, Connecticut. The garden opened in 1904 and began with about 190 varieties of roses, which eventually grew to almost 1,000 by the 1950s. The original main garden is an acre in size and has 132 rose beds. The north and south gardens contain 2.5 acres of roses, 475 beds, and 8 grass pathways. There are over 15,000 rose bushes and 800 varieties of old and new roses in the garden. The arches that radiate from the gazebo are in full bloom mid-June into early July, and there are many other roses that will bloom into the fall. The Rose Garden is a very popular place for weddings and wedding photos, with an estimated 15 to 20 weddings taking place during peak season. To plan your visit, go to elizabethparkct.org. The Helen S. Kamen Rose Garden at Elizabeth Park is located at 1561 Asylum Avenue in West Hartford, Connecticut. The gardens at Wickham Park in Manchester, Connecticut offer 10 themed gardens, including the Arboretum, which showcases native and ornamental trees and shrubs, the Irish Garden with shrubs and perennials, the Scottish Garden, which incorporates plantings along with statues with historic and mythological significance to Scottish culture, the English Garden based on English design principles, the Cabin Garden and Amphitheater offering stunning panoramic views of Hartford, the Oriental Garden, which is the oldest and largest of all the gardens at Wickham Park, the Italian Shrine, which was created by Clarence and Edith Wickham for their workers to worship, the Lotus Garden, which contains a pond with a fountain and pagoda, the Wetlands Garden, which contains accessible trails, benches, interpretive signage, and thousands of native wetlands plants, and the Sensory Garden, which was made to serve the general public by hosting a place that will appeal to every visitor. Wickham Park is open daily from 9:30 a.m. to sunset at the end of April through the last weekend in October. To plan your visit, go to wickhampark.org. The gardens at Wickham Park are located at 1329 West Middle Turnpike in Manchester, Connecticut. The Roger Williams Park Botanical Center is New England's largest glasshouse display garden. There are indoor and outdoor gardens that you can explore all year long. You can stroll through the perennial gardens, native plant meadow, or rose maze. There is a lakeside gazebo, and you can check out the 3 Nigerian dwarf goats along your walk. There are 4 year-round greenhouses offering a wide variety of plants, including majestic 40-foot tall palms, carnivorous, let's say that 5 times fast, carnivorous plants, 10-foot cacti, and succulents. They also offer a variety of programs like bonsai workshops and mahjong days and mental health mornings. To plan a visit, go to rwpconservancy.org. The Roger Williams Park Botanical Center is located at 1000 Elmwood Avenue in Providence, Rhode Island. Visit a secret garden in Rhode Island. Sakonnet Garden is a secret garden embedded within a native coastal fields landscape. It began in the 1970s as a small clearing deep within a natural tangle of autumn olives, oriental bittersweet, and local arrowwood viburnums. It is now larger than an acre, and its spaces are carved organically out of the original thicket. Each outdoor room reflects the owner's ongoing experiments with lighting, space, color mixing, collecting, and growing wonderful plants. The owners say Sakonnet is an experiment in process to see what they can grow in coastal Rhode Island. There are 20 different types of gardens to explore, and there's a map of the gardens on their website, which is sakonnetgarden.net. To pay a visit, the garden is located at 510 West Main Road in Little Compton, Rhode Island. The Coastal Maine Botanical Garden in Boothbay Harbor, Maine is a must-visit. They offer over 300 acres of gardens and natural spaces, from the native butterfly and moth house to the Bibby and Harold Alphon Children's Garden or Giles Rhododendron and Perennial Garden. There's a fairy house village, a dahlia and iris garden, a native butterfly house, and so much more. Their buildings and central gardens are ADA compliant, making them fully wheelchair and stroller accessible. They offer a shuttle service that runs throughout the day and electric scooters and wheelchairs for rent. They also offer an accessible cart tour. You will also find botanically inspired art and photography and sculpture artfully settled into garden beds and on lawns. Coastal Maine Botanical Gardens has an expansive and ever-changing collection of botanical art and related exhibits. Plan your visit by going to mainegardens.org. The Coastal Maine Botanical Garden opens for the season on May 1st, and it's located at 105 Botanical Gardens Drive in Boothbay Harbor, Maine. The Astaku Azalea Garden in Northwest Harbor, Maine combines the best features of Mount Desert Island with design elements inspired by classic Japanese gardens. Mid-May, you can witness the flowering cherry tree in bloom. Then late May to June, see a variety of colorful azaleas and rhododendrons in bloom. In July, you can expect to see Japanese iris, smokebush, rosebay rhododendron, and the fragrant sweet azalea. August boasts blooming water lilies, and from September to October, the garden is ablaze with vibrant autumn colors. The Astaku Azalea Garden is part of the Land and Garden Preserve and is open from May 2nd through November 1st from dawn to dusk. The address is 3 Sound Drive in Northwest Harbor, Maine. Visit gardenpreserve.org to plan your visit. Rhododendron State Park in Fitzwilliam, New Hampshire is named after the 16-acre grove of Rhododendron maximum. It's a 0.6-mile-long universally accessible trail that encircles the grove, allowing visitors to observe close up the fragrant clusters of pink blossoms as they burst into bloom in mid-July. There is also a wildflower trail that winds through the forest adjacent to the grove. From early spring to the first frost, wildflowers bloom throughout the 2,723-acre park. The last fall blooms are complemented by the forest's brilliant foliage. This is the largest rhododendron grove in northern New England and was designated a National Natural Landmark in 1982. The park is located at 424 Rockwood Pond Road, Fitzwilliam, New Hampshire. You can get more information to plan your visit at the New Hampshire State Parks website, which is nhstateparks.org. Pickety Place in Mason, New Hampshire is a great place to see themed gardens like the Butterfly Garden, Silver Garden, Oregano Garden, Bird Garden, Healing Garden, and Moonlight Garden. They also have a kitchen garden where you can find basil, English lavender, and other herbs. If you want to taste some of the delicious herbs, consider one of their 5-course gourmet herbal luncheons that they offer on site. You can also make a stop at their gift shop where you can purchase everything from herbal blends to loose leaf teas, cookware, gifts, apparel, and more. Pickety Place is known as a must-visit New Hampshire spot for gardeners, foodies, and anyone looking for inspiration and relaxation. Visit Pickety Place at 248 Nutting Hill Road in Mason, New Hampshire. To plan your visit, take a peek at their website, which is picketyplace.com. I hope you've enjoyed this look at some of the best places around New England to see beautiful flowers, plants, and landscapes this spring and beyond. Get out there and explore these places, and hopefully it will inspire you to visit other places I haven't mentioned too. We certainly have a ton of great spots in our region to witness the beauty of spring. Make sure to check the show notes because I've put links in there to all of the places that I mentioned in the episode, so you can just click and get all the information you need. I'll be back on Sunday, March 29th with a new episode of Notable New England, and I hope you'll tune in. Thank you for being here today, and until next time, take care.